Hi guys, welcome to Math with Mr. Husting. Today we're in section 7-8, Simple and Compound Interest. Before we start, we have a few definitions. Principal. When you first deposit money into a savings account, that deposit is called the principal, so it's the money you start with. Interest is the money that the bank pays you to keep your money there. So as you put money in, the bank gives you money every year or so to keep it there. Interest rate is the rate at which they increase your money. So 3%, they'll give you 3% per year each time you leave your money there. Simple interest is the interest paid only on the principal amount. Compound interest is when the bank pays you interest on the principal and on the interest the account has earned. So overall, compound interest is usually better than simple interest. The balance is your principal plus whatever interest you made. And then we have two equations here. Our first one, I equals P times R times T. That is simple interest equals your principal times your rate times time in years. And then our second equation is B is balance equals our principal, and then 1 plus our rate, and then it's raised to n. N is the number of interest periods. So compound interest will say it's compounded annually, semi-annually, quarterly, monthly, and over how many years. So the things we're going to need to know are annually is once a year. Semi-annually is 2 times, twice a year. Quarterly is 4 times a year. Monthly, 12 times. And daily is actually not 365, it's 360 times. And we get n by doing one of those times our years. So if we do it semi-annually for 4 years, semi-annually is 2, and then 4 years, so my n equals 8. So now we have a few examples we're going to go through. Find the simple interest if you deposit $250 into an account with an interest rate of 4% per year. So the important parts of this we know: $250, 4%, and 3 years. And again, simple interest is my I equals PRT. So let's fill in what we know. I'm looking for I equals my principal, which is $250, times 4%. But we remember, 4%, we always have to change it to a decimal before we use it in an equation. So times 0.04 is my R, and my T is 3 years. Now all I have to do is multiply those out. So my I equals $30. So my interest after 3 years is $30. Scroll down to example 2. It says make a table for compound interest. So the way I'm going to make a table is I'm going to need 3 columns. And I'm going to have this be my balance, and have the middle one be my interest, and I'm going to have this one be balance again. So if I fill this in, I have a principal of 500, an interest rate of 3% in 2 years. So again, let's change this right away and use 0.03. And I'm going to say my balance at the beginning of year 1 is $500. My interest on that, if I gain 3%, I'm going to do 500 times 0.03, and that's going to give me 15. My balance at the end is the 500 plus that 15 equals 515. That's at the end of year 1, so at the beginning of year 2, I now have $515. I make interest on that again, so 515 times 0.03 equals 1545. And then if I do my 515 plus 1545, I get 530.45. So I made my table, and at the end of 2 years, I have $530.45. And that's example 2. We made a table for compound interest. For example 3, we have to find the balance on a deposit of $1,000 that earns 4% compounded semi-annually for 5 years. So we could make a table for this, but if we look at this, we have 5 years, semi-annually, again, that means 2 times a year. So that's going to be 10 rows for our table. It's going to be time consuming, and we don't want to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to use an equation. We're going to use that B equals our principal times 1 plus our rate to the n. So let's fill out what we know. My P equals $1,000. My R is 4%, which is actually going to be 0.04. And my N is my years times semi-annually, so 10, 5 times 2. And if I fill in my equation now, my B equals principal of 1,000 times 1 plus R, which is 0.04, raised to the 10. So if I do this now, I have 1,000 times 1.04 raised to the 10. Do my exponents first, and I get 1.4802. And I'm going to keep the 4 decimals, and then I'm going to say 1,000 times 1.4802, and my balance is going to be 1,480.20 cents. So instead of making a table, we used an equation, followed order of operations, and we got our answer of $1,480.20. That's all, guys. Don't forget to subscribe.